Welcome to another informative video on project management. Today we will explore what a stakeholder is, we will go through the stakeholder management process, and explain the power interest matrix. By the end of this video, you will have a clear understanding of how to follow a stakeholder management process and how to create your own power interest matrix. Let's dive in. So let's see who are your stakeholders. A project stakeholder is an individual, group, or organization who is involved with, have an interest in, or affected by, or may affect the project activities and its outcome, either positively or negatively. Therefore, project stakeholders are all members of the project team, as well as interested parties that are either internal or external to the organization. They have varying levels of responsibility and authority over the project lifecycle. Here, you can see some examples of stakeholders. I'm not intending to go through them, but if you are still unsure who are your stakeholders, feel free to pause the video and have a proper look. Let's now move to the stakeholder management process. A typical stakeholder management process should be considered at the very beginning of the project and needs to have the following 4 steps: identify, assess, communication, planning, and manage. Let's see this in more detail. So, identify. In this initial step, the project team must identify all potential stakeholders. The identification process involves creating a comprehensive list of stakeholders and their roles or positions. Once stakeholders are identified, the next step is to assess them. This means evaluating their level of influence or power over the project and their level of interest or concern regarding its outcome. This assessment helps categorize stakeholders into different groups into the level high or low of power and interest. This categorization sets the stage for tailored engagement strategies. Therefore, during this stage, you can develop the power interest matrix. After assessing stakeholders, the project team develops a communication plan. This plan outlines how, when, and what information will be communicated to each stakeholder group. It considers the most effective ways to engage and communicate with stakeholders based on their power and interest levels. High-power stakeholders may require more frequent and detailed updates, while low-power stakeholders might only need occasional briefings. The final step is managing stakeholder relationships throughout the project. This involves implementing the communication plan, actively engaging with stakeholders, addressing their concerns, and keeping them informed about project progress. Managing stakeholders effectively helps mitigate risks, resolve issues, and build support for the project. Let's now focus on the power interest matrix. Remember that not all stakeholders are created equal. Some have a lot of power and influence over the project, while others might only have a passing interest. So, how do you determine who you should focus your efforts on? That's where the power interest matrix comes into play. It's a simple yet powerful tool that helps you visualize your stakeholders based on 2 key factors: their level of power and their level of interest in your project. Let's break down these factors. Power refers to a stakeholder's ability to impact your project. someone with high power can make or break your project with their decisions or actions. Think, for example, senior executives, regulatory authorities, or major investors. These are the heavy hitters. On the other side, we have interest. Interest represents how much a stakeholder cares about your project. Stakeholders with high interest are those who will be directly affected by the project's outcomes, either positively or negatively. This could include, for example, end users, customers, or even your project team. Now let's combine power and interest together. The power-interest matrix divides your stakeholders into 4 quadrants. First, low power, low interest. These folks are in the bottom left quadrant. They have minimal impact on your project and aren't very interested. You will want to monitor them, but don't need to invest a ton of effort. Then we have low power, high interest. In the bottom right quadrant, you find stakeholders with a lot of interest, but not much power. They care about your project, so it's essential to keep them informed and engaged. Then you have high power, low interest. Up in the top left quadrant, you've got stakeholders who can significantly impact your project, but they are not all that interested. You need to keep an eye on them, but you don't need to involve them in every single detail. And lastly, you have high power, high interest. In the top right quadrant, you've got the big players. These stakeholders have both the power to influence your project and a high level of interest. They demand your full attention. So how do you use this matrix? Well, once you've assessed your stakeholders, you can tailor your communication and engagement strategies accordingly. High power, high interest stakeholders need regular, detailed updates and close collaboration. Low power, low interest stakeholders might only need occasional updates, and so on. Therefore, the power interest matrix helps you prioritize your stakeholder management efforts, ensuring you focus your resources where they matter most. It's a tool for making informed decisions, building strong relationships, and ultimately achieving project success. And there you have it. The power interest matrix is a vital tool for effective stakeholder management. I hope you found this video insightful. If you did, please like, subscribe, comment, and stay tuned for more valuable videos. Thanks for watching.